How's it going today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about step-by-step how to participate in an IPO or initial public offering. So real quick, guys, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this video here, a few quick disclaimers to make. First of all, I am not a financial advisor. This is not any kind of financial advice, and you should always do your own due diligence above and beyond this video before investing. Also, this video is sponsored by SoFi. So first of all, before we talk about how to participate in an IPO, it's important to understand what an IPO even is in the first place. So an IPO stands for Initial Public Offering, and this is the first time a private company issues stock and offers them to the general public. The IPO itself is actually the final step in a very lengthy process, which is referred to as a company going public. If a company is ready to meet the demands of the SEC and has established strong financials, it can file to go public. The company will then work with an investment bank who acts as the underwriter for that IPO, and this takes many, many months. It's a very, very long process. An IPO can be an excellent opportunity for a company to raise capital and potentially accelerate growth because it's a way for them to get new money into the company by issuing shares. So just to give you guys a visual example of what this looks like, here we have a private company which decides to file for an initial public offering. After that, the company hires an underwriter to help navigate the process of the IPO. And as we said, it's very complicated and takes oftentimes many, many months. After that, strong marketing materials are created to establish demand as well as gauge interest for the public offering. After that, an IPO date is set with the amount of shares to be offered and a tentative price per share, which can fluctuate based on demand. And also, we have seen in the past some IPOs that were announced that got canceled because there are times when something will happen with a company in the 11th hour and it can ruin their chances to have an IPO. Because simply put, nobody wants to buy the shares based on new information coming out. After that, a board of directors are appointed to the company, and then other processes for reporting are set in place. Because a publicly traded company is held under a lot more scrutiny than a private one, and so it's this trade-off that a company has to weigh of, do we want to go public and then have to share our financial reporting quarterly and share a lot more information via our prospectus, which could be things that competitors would be able to access and get information that they might have otherwise wanted to keep private. So not every company goes public. There's some billion-dollar private companies out there, and there's also, a lot of large publicly traded companies. So it's sort of, this pro and con thing, this trade-off that companies have to, determine of whether or not they want to have all of those eyeballs on them and all of those reporting requirements with that advantage of having shares publicly trading versus keeping it private and not having to share all of that information that their competitors could potentially see. So after that, the company officially issues shares at the initial public offering. The capital is received as cash and it's recorded on the balance sheet. So how do you actually participate in an IPO? Well, in the past, IPOs were reserved for institutions and high net worth individuals. Basically, the marketing team for an IPO would go on a roadshow. They would go to all different investment bankers, institutional investors, different pension managers, and basically try to sell them those shares at that point in time. Retail investors generally had to wait until a stock reached their financial institution or brokerage account. And the downside there is that if there is a lot of a big move with an IPO, oftentimes, if a stock goes public, it can go much higher or much lower than the initial public offering price immediately. And the downside is with most IPOs in the past, retail investors wouldn't have an opportunity to get in at the IPO price. They would only be able to purchase on the market after a new price was settled based on that supply and demand. Today, however, anyone can access an IPO with a brokerage such as SoFi, and right now, very few platforms offer this feature, so it is quite unique. Now, above and beyond just the IPO investing, let's talk more about today's video sponsor, SoFi, and why individuals choose to invest with this app. First of all, they have trading with no commissions and a $5 account minimum. They also offer fractional shares via something called stock bits. So if you're looking at stocks that trade for hundreds, if not thousands per share, you can rest assured that you can buy a very small amount via a stock bit or fractional share. That way you don't have to save up all of that money to purchase a whole share. With SoFi, you have access to ETFs, stocks, crypto, and IPOs. When you open an account with SoFi Invest, you can win up to $1,000. So if you guys want to check that out and potentially earn up to $1,000 for opening that account, check out the sponsored link down below for SoFi. It's not an affiliate link, so I'm not earning any sort of commission from that, but I am very thankful for SoFi sponsoring this video. If you guys decide that you want to check it out after doing some research on your own, I would appreciate your use of that link because it would be great for them to, sponsor more videos and content in the future. Also, guys, if you are looking to learn more about investing, they have an educational platform called SoFi Learn. Nearly 2 million members and a 4.8 star rating in the App Store from over 88,000 reviews. And you can also consider enabling dividend reinvestment that may maximize returns. In addition to that, guys, SoFi also offers a lot of other products beyond just investing, and you oftentimes aren't going to find this whole suite of products with other financial apps out there. So through SoFi, you can have access to IRA accounts, active or automatic investing, a credit card with cryptocurrency rewards, and 2% unlimited cash back cash management account with no transaction fee, early payday, and a $100 welcome bonus. They also offer student loan refinancing, personal loans, credit score monitoring and budgeting, as well as access to CFAs and career coaching, all at no additional cost. So if any of that interests you guys, feel free to check out SoFi via the sponsored link in the description. So more now on the IPO investing with SoFi. Let's talk about the process here. So first of all, you're in the app, you're going to navigate to the Invest tab. And then after that, you're going to select IPO investing. So when we did this presentation here, at that point in time, there was just one live IPO available. After that, you're going to click on View Live IPOs, and if you want to learn about other opportunities in the future, you can click on that blue button that says Notify Me. So here's the process for IPO investing with SoFi. Step number one, you're going to see what deals are live, and then if any of them interest you, you're going to select your IPOs. Step number two, you're going to select how many shares you would like, but understand this is not final and it's not guaranteed. You're pretty much saying, hey, if the opportunity becomes available for me to invest, this is how many I would like to purchase. Step number three, you're going to confirm your buy order the morning of the IPO. So you're going to want to mark it on your calendar or set a notification in the app. And then step number four, shares will be allocated the morning of the IPO, and you may not receive your whole order due to allocation. So hopefully you get part of it. Maybe you do get all of it, but it all depends on the demand. That being said, however, there are risks with any investment out there, and there are specific risks that do apply to IPO investing. There's many above and beyond this as well, but let me cover the basic ones now. Any investment out there carries risk, and this is very true for IPO investing as well. New companies have less of an operating history and they're far less established. Also, IPOs generally have high volatility early on. I have never personally participated in an IPO. If that changes in the future, I'll certainly let you guys know. But just understand there's oftentimes a lot of volatility because the price is ultimately settling as the market determines, hey, what are people looking to buy this for? What are people trying to sell it for? And supply and demand justifies a market price over time. Just to show you guys an example of this, of how IPO investing can be volatile, we're looking here at Uber stock, and this is current as of July 18th, 2021. So Uber went public in May of 2019. However, by September of 2019, the stock was down over 20%. So if somebody had bought it right at the IPO, they would have been down, 20% or more in the short run. However, after that price settled over time, we saw that stock move up quite a bit, and now it's up over 10% since the IPO as of July 18th, 2021. So just to show you there, guys, an example of that volatility and the ups and downs that is typical of most IPOs out there. And then for an example of things going in the other direction based on high demand, this was one of the craziest ones out there. Airbnb, they had an IPO plan that got delayed based on, the situation we had earlier in 2020, but then things turned around and then everybody was traveling, so this was a very popular IPO. Airbnb went public in December of 2020, and after just one day, the stock was up over 100%. Now, again, that's mostly helpful for those who got in at the early on part of the IPO, at the initial IPO price. Retail investors would have to buy it at that 100% inflated price based on the new demand for those shares. So that's why it's advantageous to get in on that ground floor of the IPO before it's on, the actual stock exchange. Now Airbnb is up over 97% since its IPO, but you can see it has cooled off a little bit. So those who bought it after that run up are potentially down a bit right now. And then for an example here of a nightmare IPO situation, this is Sundial Growers. They went public in August of 2019, and then by December, the company was down 93%. That's nasty. I mean, that would mean if you put $100 in there, you'd have $7 left. That's a massive, massive loss. So again, understand there are massive risks oftentimes associated with IPOs, so tread carefully, okay? Also, you're going to typically want to have any IPO investing being a very long-term investment because in the short term, as you're seeing, that price could move any direction. So that's an example there of things not working out too well with that IPO. So now, guys, we're going to jump into SoFi and do a live demo showing you this financial app. Okay, guys, so here we are inside of the SoFi app. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick tour and show you basically what this app has to offer. So right up top here, you can see that I have my invest account, and if I click on that, this is where any investments that you have are going to be. So it breaks it up in between my individual stock investing as well as my cryptocurrency investing. We talked about IPO investing earlier. If you are interested in that, you could go to invest, click on go to IPO investing. And then if you want to be notified of future IPOs, you just click on that blue button right there that says notify me. It looks like right now they don't have any IPOs available, but if you click on notify me, they'll update you anytime that changes. So on the home tab, you can see your different accounts here, and you can see where the balance is and how it's growing over time. It also gives you performance of your different investments. Now, if you do link up, with the different spending cards and debit cards and link your accounts, you can also follow spending, look at spending by category, and this is all of the budgeting tools that SoFi offers. They also do free credit score monitoring if you are interested. You can track the value of your home, tag transactions, so many really crazy things you can do within this app. I'm actually excited to track my home value within the app. I have 2 properties now, so I'm probably going to add that in at a later date, just because that is helpful rather than going on my mortgage statements to be able to track that automatically. So beyond that here, they also show you the performance of any stocks that you've been keeping an eye on. They also show you here top movers. They're going to show you utilization of your credit cards if you in fact link those here. There's also the reward section here where you can claim any reward points that you earn and redeem them. They also have sweepstakes oftentimes going on, and there's even a leaderboard here if you want to create a social account and track your performance compared to other people on the app. You'll also find, news section here. And I honestly really find that this reminds me a lot of, a news feed on a social media app where you just scroll through here and find interesting things. On the money tab here, this is where you could open up an account for cash management here, or if you wanted to get a debit card with them to track spending. Here we have the credit card, and they also have the ability to earn cryptocurrency as a reward on your spending if that interests you. We already looked at the investing account account here. And then if you want, they also have loans within the app if you want to look at personal loan, student loan refinance, or even purchasing a home. Everything right here within this app. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, thank you to SoFi for sponsoring this video. If you guys decide that you want to check out SoFi after watching this video and doing your own research, feel free to use that sponsored link down below. SoFi did sponsor the video. It allows me to provide content like this to you. So your use of that link is always appreciated, but of course, never expected. If this is your first time seeing me here, guys, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for future notifications. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video.